Texas Platinum. Hopefully you saw the offensive spring ball video before this. This is the defensive one, so if you haven't seen that one yet, please go ahead and check out that one. But if you like defense, this is your spot. Before we get started, just once again, thank you for subscribing, following us, liking all this stuff, and your continued support. And if you haven't already, maybe consider doing that. Helps us grow a lot and puts a smile on our faces. So just to get into it, Matt, what do you think of Coach Kwiatkowski's defense?
Yeah, Coach Kwiatkowski's defense is definitely way different than Chris Ash's, in my opinion. But apparently we're trying to keep it similar, so at least slowly phase in the wholesale changes so our players can be comfortable and not just completely have their head spinning while they're playing. But mainly what you see out of Coach Kwiatkowski's defense, at least at Washington, the first thing you'll notice is, or at least I noticed, is the single high safety. They're always going to have a big center fielder out top, deep, like 20, 30 yards deep. I'm not even kidding. Just to oversee everything, which I think is really good in the Big 12. Help prevent those long, Hollywood Brown, long bomb, seam routes, keep it kind of in front of you, which is really important. And that's kind of why he's had success, in my opinion. They played really far off. He's had success against the air raid at Washington, against Washington State. So, yeah, you're going to see a lot of 2 D lineman looks, at least real D linemen, and you're going to have a lot of hybrids up. So usually 2 D linemen, 2 outside linebackers, 2 inside linebackers, and then 5 DBs. So it's kind of like a 4-2-5, but it changes. Sometimes you'll see 3 guys down. It really is multiple. That's how I categorize it. But mainly the main thing to watch is just how the edge rushers move around and the high safety, how he just plays so deep and just kind of keeps an eye on everything. And a lot of question marks. I mean, who's going to be our high safety? Caden Sturz would have been a great natural fit at that position because he's kind of a ball hawk that's lanky and can jump. But we don't have him anymore. So who's going to fill that role? I don't think PJ Foster would be good there. He definitely needs to be playing close to the line of scrimmage. So a lot of questions. Yeah. We're going to go down the line with all the personnel groups. Some position groups are more stacked than others. And, I'm sure you know who we're talking about, which groups we're talking about. And we'll get down the line there. But, I mean, might as well start off with defensive line. I think definitely probably one of our strongest units on the team. There's, bona fide players everywhere. Keandre Coburn, the 4-year senior captain, probably. Alfred Collins, the future star. Jacoby Jones, Moro Ojimo, Tavondre Sweat, Vernon Broughton in the wings, Jatavian Sanders coming in. There's just studs everywhere, which you got to give Oscar Giles credit. He left our defensive line in a great spot, and I think Coach K and Bo Davis will be very happy when they walk in spring practice and see all these guys put the pads on and get going because there's talent everywhere. So, yeah, Trevor, what do you think about the defensive line? Which guys do you like and which guys do you see can take a step in the spring?
Yeah, I think we're absolutely stacked on our defensive line. I'm very excited about it, which I'm also a little apprehensive and maybe frustrated isn't the word, but now that we're going to be going away from Chris Ash's defense that really featured the defensive line, I feel like we finally have built up a good defensive line group, and now we're going to a defense that isn't quite the focus as much as it is the outside linebackers and just linebackers in general, which has me a little concerned and a little frustrated, but nevertheless, I'm still excited about this group. I think Coburn's really, especially with how these formations are, with like 2 down defensive linemen, which seems to be a commonality. That's pretty much what I saw when I looked at the depth charts kind of at the latter part of the Washington season. So I figured that we'll probably be seeing a lot of that. I expect the big boys to be really kind of being the stars here. So Keandre Coburn, I think, is definitely someone that is probably going to get a lot of playing time. Also just being his seniority and been on the team for a while, and it's time to, I'm sure, be a captain. Seems to be a good leader and was pretty vocal last season, and expect to see a lot of him. I mean, Alfred Collins is obviously a stud and a star in the making, so I'm sure we're going to see him quite a lot. I mean, and I really just like our depth in general. I mean, Moro Ojimo has shown flashes in his time here at UT. So I think that he can be really good for us. This past season, he didn't quite pop off like we projected that he would. I know that we were very high on him going into the 2020 season, yet he didn't quite live up to that standard. So I'm curious to see how he develops. Jacoby Jones always seems to offer good plays when we need him to. Devontae Sweat, really curious to see how he develops. He's been looking better and better every year. So I expect him to take the next step. And then some of these younger guys like Vernon Broughton and Sawyer Gorham Welsh, definitely guys to be looking out for, and I expect to see them in the rotation. But kind of like what I said, I think the big boys are who are going to be the most featured on the defensive line. And I'm curious if any of these guys might go to outside linebacker. My guess is no. I mean, we were saying Jatavian Sanders. He's not going to be in spring ball, but for down the line, I could see him maybe being an outside linebacker, just being that he's not like a huge dude, but he's a big dude, but not like a big dude, in terms of defensive linemen. So Madrid, what do you think?
I think this is like you said, you guys said it's stacked. I think it's maybe not stacked like killers, but could be killers in the sense that it's deep. We have a really good mix here of experience and young talent that could explode. I'm really excited about this group. Of course, I don't know how we'll do without Mr. Thunder Thighs, Marquez Bimage. I'm gonna miss him, man. Those thighs, man. I'll miss that. Anyways, I think it's going to be a really good group. I'm most excited about Alfred Collins. The guy looks like he's going to be a killer, like a stud. I just can't wait. And Keandre Coburn, he's shown so much leadership. He's shown so much growth. He'll continue to anchor the line. Other than that, this is one part of the defense where I feel very comfortable with and relying on, and I think it's important. Especially, I think the trenches win football games. Trench warfare is literally all football, and they'll give O lines across the Big 12 hell. I'm sure of it. And especially with Coach K coming in, finally getting some highly touted guys in his repertoire. He's gonna go ham with these guys. I'm really excited. So. Other than that, I think we'll see a lot of rotation, but there'll be a good chunk, 5 guys that remain are studs. So yeah, deep and young. I think that's a great combination to have.
I like it.
Right. I agree. I mean, Alfred Collins, I feel like we're underselling him. He's going to be a freaking – he's the guy that he stands out. He's definitely got top 10 NFL potential if he keeps progressing. And I can't wait to see Bo Davis get his hands on him. But, yeah, Devontae Sweat as well is a guy that NFL scouts like from what I've read. And then just down the line everywhere, Coburn, Jacoby Jones underrated, Vernon Broughton, a high 4-star, a lot of potential. So, yeah, I mean, we're being a dead horse here. The D-line is stacked, and I just can't wait to see him shake it. I really want to see how it looks in the spring game. That's really the spring game is going to be awesome. A lot of question marks will be kind of answered a little bit. I want to see like the rotations and stuff and who's playing on the edge, because I definitely think our D-line's more suited for interior guys than edge guys right now. But we'll get down to the linebackers next, and there's some guys that can spin down, like Prince Dorba, maybe Jalen Ford, guys like that can play off the edge. So, yeah, D-line stacked. Moving on to the linebackers now. DeMarvion Overshown, don't even need to say anything about him. He's just freaking a stud, first-round potential. That dude is for real, and he's going to cause problems for every Big 12 team. He's just sideline to sideline. When he blitzes, it's a really scary sight. And then behind him is Juwan Mitchell, who's really good as well. The thing about him is it's just he's struggling with grades right now. It seems like there's always something off, maybe off the field or him getting, targeting, stuff like that. Yeah. He's had little luck getting like a full season, every game smoothly. So if he can put a full season together and play within himself, within the system, and stay disciplined where he's consistent, he's got NFL potential. Maybe not NFL potential, but definitely all Big 12 potential. So there's some two really good guys off the top, and then there's some a little bit of unproven depth behind him, but guys that I think can be good, like Jalen Ford, David Benda, and Prince Dorba. Maybe I think he still needs some time to develop, but yeah, there's some good guys in the room, and then Sark's obviously hit the portal pretty hard at linebacker. So, yeah, Madrid, what do you think about the linebacker room, and do you feel good about it heading into spring?
Honestly, no. Complete opposite of the D-line. I think we have two great guys in DeMarvion and Juwan. I think those guys you can rely on heavily. DeMarvion's gonna be the Joseph Osai of this year. We all kind of see like, hey, this guy could really take a leap forward, and if he does, he'll be disruptive and he'll be noticed. And I think we started to see at the end of this year, that guy can move like sideline to sideline, unreal. He can blitz. He's fast. He's the future of the linebacker position, really. I mean, we've seen it already, honestly. But like, there's no more of these big, burly guys. You're a hybrid DB that can play in the box, and you're long and you can move sideline to sideline. I'm really excited about his evolution. Juwan Mitchell just need him to be as consistent as he was last year, and the off-field stuff hopefully sort themselves out. He led the team in tackles last year, I believe, so that's always a good sign. Yeah, I just need him to be a little bit more consistent, and just need those two guys to hold us down. The problem we get into is if one of them gets hurt, then we're just in the same position as we were last year, 2 years ago. I forget. But I just we lose depth there, and we hurt. We hurt when we don't have enough guys there. So I'm glad Sark is going after portal guys. Ray Thornton, curious to see how he gets implemented in his defense. Yeah, like I said, Jalen Ford and David. What's his last? How you say his last name?
Benda.
Is it Benda G silent? Okay, good.
Benda.
Kind of improving guys. Hopefully they take a leap forward. But it's gonna be really on our two guys, for sure. So other than that, just pray everyone's healthy.
Yes.
Please.
Yes. Yeah, Ray Thornton is listed as an outside linebacker, so that's going to be great to have at least one guy that is in his position already, you know, and because I'm sure a lot of it's a totally different defense, so there'll be a lot to learn. For all positions, but especially linebackers, because like I said, I think they're a little bit more predominant in this defensive scheme than Chris Ash's were. Yeah, I mean, you guys pretty much touched on it all. Agent Zero is that dude, and we're going to need him really badly. He's kind of the heart of the defense, and much like Bijan is probably the heart of the offense. Overshown is the heart of the defense moving forward, and this is his year to go get that money and get drafted high. Because I know that he considered it last season when he got really good towards the end of the season, and I think we're all very happy that he decided to, stick it out one more year and continue to add to his highlights and get more experience out of that position. So I just hope and pray that that pays dividends for him, because he's a good guy and comes from some humble beginnings, and definitely deserves to have that good shot long term. But yeah, outside him, yeah, we definitely got some depth issues there. But I am very curious to see how Benda and Jalen Ford progress. They've been playing a little bit more, especially towards the end of last season, and I expect to see them in bigger roles coming up. So just curious how. I feel like they've been on the team for a while, and just kind of have been put away, like marinating the meat. I want to see how the meat looks now. Yeah, I feel weird calling. I shouldn't call them meat. Let's not.
Meat, man.
I made a mistake with that, but take it what you will. And then I'm curious to see what happens to Deli a day away if
Oh,
he
that's
ends
true.
up actually transferring. I think he put
He's
his
in the
name
portal right now, right?
in the portal, so maybe he'll stay, maybe he'll go. I don't know. I hope he stays because he has a lot of experience, and this past season he didn't show too much, and I think he dealt with some injuries, unless I'm mistaken. But really, anyone at this position, I do not want leaving the team because we need that depth, and we need as many guys as we can. Prince Dorba definitely is a good prospect that I'm curious to see if we see more of him. I know that Myers said he might need more development, but yep, guys to watch. Hold your breath on this position, but at least we got probably the best player on our defensive side is at this position, so at least there's that.
Agreed.
Yeah. Sweet. Yeah, I mean, I think that's the biggest question mark on defense by far is the linebackers. So we'll get some answers hopefully here in the spring and get some guys stepping forward. So, yeah, linebackers. Moving on to cornerbacks, Deshaun Jameson is the first one that pops out. He's just a steady, great in the return game. He's a good cover corner too, really athletic, really fast. And I think he's got potential to, maybe enter the Thorpe conversation if he takes another step and has a really good season. But it's really hard in the Big 12 to, be in that conversation because the offenses are usually so dynamic and they're going to put up points and put up yards through the air. So, but Jameson's a great guy, a great player. And alongside him is Josh Thompson, Keaton Crawford, also Anthony Cook. Jalen Green transfers out, which sucks because he was really good. I thought he was one of our best corners and really good for depth too, if anything, just depth.
Yeah.
And him going to Mississippi State to reunite with Jason Washington, it definitely hurts. So we'll see where that goes. Darion Kendrick's a guy that was looking at Texas to possibly transfer from Clemson, really talented guy, but he just got arrested again. So I don't think that's going to happen now. So, I mean, there's talent in the room. And, Jadae Barron's a guy that we're not talking about too that I think could be a good corner. Kind of small, but some undersized corners can be really good if they know how to play play the ball and stuff like that at their size. And I think he does. He got that natural ability. So there's some good parts here. I mean, a lot of 4-star, 5-star talent, or mainly 4-star talent, but still, I think there's definitely some players in the room, and it's just kind of seeing who are going to be the top 3 guys. Really, is what we want to see. So, Trevor, take it away on the cornerback room.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious how. I don't know too well how slip up there, how Coach K features cornerbacks in this defense, or if he really is more of an outside safeties type guy. Not a ton of group depth, I should say. You did not mention that Josh Thompson will be back, so that'll be huge. He definitely can hold down for it, and I expect him to be a captain. Just being his leadership role. And I mean, he kind of had some on and off flashes. Like I remember that first game against UTEP, we were like, oh my God, he's amazing. And then from that point on, he never quite showed up to that level, but still showed flashes. So I believe he'll be in his senior year or 5th year even. No, I think it's his senior year because he redshirted, I'm pretty sure. But anyway, experienced guy. I expect to see him around. Jameson, obviously, kind of a star there. This will be his last year at Texas, most likely. So I expect him to really pop off and hopefully get that interception count back up again because I believe it was his sophomore year where he did really well with interceptions. Last season, I don't know if he got any interceptions. I don't think so, but hopefully he gets those numbers up. Curious to see how Anthony Cook progresses, and hope that guy goes out on a bang, assuming that this may be his last year at Texas too. Keaton Crawford also got to look out for. So, yeah, kind of an interesting room. Like I said, I mean, I'm curious to see how these cornerbacks are featured in this defense because that I'm not too sure of.
I don't have too much to add on that because I really think it's Jameson, Josh Thompson, and Keaton Crawford, and I think that's primarily what you're going to be seeing out there. I'm confident in all those guys. Deshaun Jameson, the dude, the guy, electric player. I can't wait to see how he finishes off his career here, mainly. And then Josh Thompson, just solid leadership position. We should be decent in that category, hopefully.
Yeah.
Yep.
One guy that we're forgetting to mention is Darian Dunn. He comes in from McNeese State, transfer, I think grad transfer. He's a guy that Herman added late, and Sark and Coach K worked to keep him in the boat because he didn't know the staff at all. It was completely a Herman guy, but Sark kept him. So that's a good sign that the staff thought highly of this McNeese State transfer to keep him, because I've read that he's got NFL potential and he's going to show out when he gets the stage to do it, and he'll have that at Texas. So he's a guy that might battle for a starting position or at least playing time behind Deshaun Jameson and Josh Thompson. But the last thing I want to add about the cornerback room and really the DB room is this is kind of a make or break year for that 2018, the famed class, that DB haul. Like, what was it? 4 5-stars? No, 2 5-stars, 4 4-stars. So I was looking at it now, and everybody's already saying it was a bust. And that's kind of true, but it's also still to be determined because Caden Stearns is probably going to be drafted this year. I don't know where.
He
probably,
definitely is. He had a really good. He had a really good showing at the Texas, not combine. What's that called? Pro Day. Yeah. So, and I've already heard a lot of people are saying he's probably a second round guy. So.
Second round, that'd be awesome. But yeah, anyways, so you got Caden Stearns who's going to get drafted, hopefully high, and then DeMarvion Overshown, pencil him in as a top 3 rounder next year too, and then Deshaun Jameson, I think, is also a draft pick if he takes another step. And then if you can get one of Anthony Cook and B.J. Foster to take that step where they can become a draft-worthy guy, they have the talent to do it. It's just putting it all together.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be end up having 4 of the 6 DBs that class drafted, and maybe 1 or 2 in the top couple rounds with the Overshown and maybe Stearns if we're lucky. So I think that can salvage that class and say overall it was a success. It wasn't just home runs everywhere, but it still was a good, effective group that will go down as one of the better hauls ever. So I'm hoping they can put it together so we can kind of put together put to rest some of those narratives that Texas doesn't develop, because a lot of people will be saying the 2018 class is a perfect evidence that that DB haul, all the talent in the world, and fell on its face at Texas. So hopefully these guys can put that to rest. So that's what I'm looking to see out of the DB room, and hopefully Sark and company, Coach Gideon, all those guys can get them ready for the season and hopefully the NFL.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. You want to touch on safeties at all? Out in the back.
Yeah, definitely safeties. That's kind of the question mark, honestly, when you look at the DB room, because we know the guys at corner more or less who are going to be in the rotation. Not necessarily who's going to be starting and playing X amount of snaps, but the safety room, you got B.J. Foster back, so that's a 5-star talent that he's kind of been a head case at times, but he's also been really good at times. So him putting it all together would be huge for the
great Instagram.
Yeah, he's got a great Instagram presence, but he's a thumper. I mean, I don't think he'll be playing that high safety position. I think that'd be a waste of who he is. He needs to be in that front 7 close to the box. And I'm sure they'll find a way to keep him, maybe not the nickel spot, but I don't know. Just get him close to the line of scrimmage, really. And then obviously Chris Adamora is a guy that can play the nickel or the spur, whatever it's called in Coach K's system. That's a guy that I think definitely got NFL potential. He's I think, honestly, probably one of our best DBs. He's kind of underappreciated because he just has to do so much as a nickelback. He's kind of he's always just, behind the scenes doing stuff. So, and then also Jaron Thompson's a guy that if you go back and watch the Kansas State game, Jaron Thompson played really well. I mean, he had interception. I remember texting y'all during the game, like, this guy looks better than Stearns out there.
Yeah.
He was just a freshman. So I think he's the natural candidate to be that deep high safety because he kind of can play the ball pretty nicely. So he might pencil him as a starter. I don't know. And then, yeah, I mean, it's a lot of people in that room. Tyler Owens is a guy that we've been waiting on. All the potential in the world. I don't know if he's going to spin down to linebacker or something, but a lot of options. Madrid, any safeties you like in particular? I know that I kind of mentioned them all, but any guys that you want to see take that step and get, become like bona fide starters?
You mentioned him at the end, and I like Tyler Owens. I liked him in spots for sure. He had his moments. I really think he has has the potential to be great. I don't know if he'll put it together in time, but it's Tyler Owens for me. But the main thing for me in the DBs, the safety areas, is, and I can't believe I'm saying this about a senior, but if BJ Foster can finally have a great season, man, would that be all the difference in the world for this defense? And it's really just two things for me with him, and it's just taking better angles and wrapping up. He can hit like a truck, but that man can also just bounce off of you because he doesn't wrap up, or he'll just get juked out of his feet. And I don't know what it is about that guy. He's a character, but I still have faith in him. And if he really takes off this year, then he could spell or dispel a lot of negative say about him and the rest of the DB group. Jaron Thompson, like you said, look good spots. It's just for me, it's BJ Foster. Hope, please, man, please put it together. We need it. We really need it. That's me. What do you think, Trevor?
Yeah, very much same sentiments as y'all. If I had to pick a guy, I'm picking Chris Adamora. I'm very much into what he provides to the table, and I think Myers said that he'd probably be the best candidate for that middle position in the back. Which I'd be in agreement with. He makes really good plays on the ball. I think that's his strong suit, and I'm curious to see him just build on what he's done here at Texas, and kind of see if he becomes a bit of a star and maybe take on a bit more of a leadership role. Now that this is his, I believe, third season here at Texas, so I'm definitely looking out for him. I'm curious to see how he grows and evolves. Jaron Thompson. Very curious to see how he transitions from playing a little bit towards the end of his freshman year, and then now probably maybe having a starting role, and seeing if he, encounters a sophomore slump like a lot of these DBs do, or if he builds on it and continues to look like a stud. Those are probably the two guys that I'm most curious about. Obviously, BJ Foster's up there on the list too, but we talked about him at nauseum, so I don't need to touch any more on Mr. Foster. But I really do hope that all these guys really do as good as they can in this new defense, because I know that that's tough. That can be a big struggle, and I just hope that it's not too much of a struggle. But at the same time, there's also a weird history with Texas for these past 6 years or so, where whenever a new defensive coordinator comes in that first year, for whatever reason, even though it's a totally new system, Texas historically has done really good with a new coordinator and a new scheme. So hopefully we get that and not the lather where it's they struggle because it's a new scheme, but I don't know. We'll be talking about defense a lot more, I'm sure, down the road, especially once we start seeing some film on it, because I'm really curious just what it looks like with our personnel.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely. One guy we didn't really talk about too much that we should have regarding the DBs, he's more of a corner, is Keaton Crawford. I think that's a guy that go back and watch the Kansas State film. Really just watch that whole game, and you'll just see kind of a glimpse of what our defense is going to look like more or less next year, just personnel-wise. A lot of the old guys sat out, opted out, and a lot of the young guys got playing time, and they shine. So, yeah, a lot of promising young talent that you got to give Herman some credit. They brought in some good talent, and hopefully we can just capitalize on it. So, yeah, let me ask you all this before we hop off. Who are the three best players in our defense heading into spring? Just overall, you're drafting an NFL team. Who are you, not even upside, no. They're not drafting. Just you're taking three guys to build around for a college defense. Who are you taking first on the Texas Longhorns defense?
Are you saying obvious, or are we doing it like the previous video where it's not obvious?
Give me the three obvious and give me one guy that we're not talking about that could pop off in the spring.
Oh, well, that's easy. It's Alfred Collins and Overshown as the two obvious ones, at least for me. I'm guessing that y'all feel the same about that. As for the third, I don't know. I'd have to think for a second.
It's kind of tough for me. I'd go Collins and Jameson, and then.
Oh, really? Not Overshown?
No, I mean, I feel like it's too obvious. I mean, it's just too obvious.
Okay.
I don't know. And then one, I'm looking at it now. Keaton Crawford, because you're right. You're right. We didn't talk about him much, and I don't think he gets enough love in the Texas community in general. And so I definitely take him as like the sleeper of the three. Would think.
My third one, I'm gonna go with Adamora. I think that's. I was thinking about Coburn, but Coburn still needs to show a little bit more things for me to feel good about drafting. But like I said, I really like how Adamora has a really good nose for the ball, and I think that is always something that translates over to the National Football League. Is are you good? Do you have good ball skills? And he seems to do that really well. That's kind of a strong suit, in my opinion. So I got him, and then Collins and Overshown. What about you, Myers?
Yeah, my top three players in the defense, just overall, is definitely Chris Adamora, Marvion Overshown, and Alfred Collins. Those are the three best players by far, in my opinion. And then as far as the guy who I think is going to kind of just start taking that step and becoming a star is Tavondre Sweat. That's kind of – I mean, it's kind of already a proven thing, but I don't think he's even scraped the surface of his potential. I just love his motor at his size, and I think he fits perfectly for what Coach K wants out of his defensive line, especially in the interior. So, I don't know, maybe some Vita Vea vibes going from Tavondre Sweat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
So I'm thinking, and I've been reading. I'm thinking that we might see some fireworks out of him this spring. So that'd be a lot of fun and good for him because he's got all the potential in the world. He can start capitalizing on it and make some money. So Tavondre Sweat, breakout star, future Hall of Famer.
Let's go.
I like it. Is this defense gonna have a nickname like Death Row? Are they gonna? Or is Coach K gonna take that from Washington, or do we have to create a new one?
I hope so. That's a
Death Row Horns.
Death Row sounds amazing. Jesus Christ.
But that might be Washington's thing.
Yeah, I know. It really is. It is, but damn, that's a good one.
It is. That's great.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I'm curious if he's into nicknames and stuff or if he's just a old school football coach. You don't care about that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm curious to just learn more about because I don't think I've seen a single interview of Kwiatkowski, so I have no idea what his personality is like at all. But
totally new to me too as well.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I don't know.
Washington fans hate to see him go, so I think that's a good sign. I'll take
Definitely.
that.
Definitely a good sign.
Anything else you guys wanted to add before we sign off?
I think I'm good. Myers, nothing?
We're good.
Good then. Again, if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. We appreciate it. Make sure to like it, like the video, subscribe to us, comment us, give us that engagement. We love it when you do it. Until next time, hook 'em, and y'all be safe out there.